All right, what's up, guys? It's the final round, and we're back with Death by Dynasty for wide receivers slash tight ends. And I'm going to go ahead and just get my Cleveland Browns pick out of the way. And I like Amari Cooper over 950 and a half yards. Now, last year, he got 1,160 yards receiving, and that was with 6 games of Deshaun Watson, who was really rusty, and 11 games of Jacoby Brissett. So now we're going to get a full season, hopefully a full season of Deshaun Watson being healthy, getting better as the season goes. And I've already seen stuff out of training camp of some really nice route running, and it just gets me hyped for Amari Cooper. And it's pretty disrespectful that they don't think or they have the line under 1,000 yards. I think 1,000 yards is very doable for Amari Cooper. So 950 and a half, I think it's going to be an easy pick on the over.
Yeah, his situation only got better.
Right.
I also like his receptions. They set that at 72 and a half, and I think he crushes that. But I'll start off with Brandon Ayuk in San Francisco. I've been saying on our show that he's the best wide receiver in San Francisco. They set his line for touchdowns at 4.5. And every single year he's been in the NFL, he's gotten that. He went 5.58. He's only gotten better each season. He's, I think, going to continue to separate himself from Deebo Samuel as far as the go-to guy there when throwing downfield, and his ability to just have breakaway touchdowns 4.5 when he's been, I just feel like that's so low if he's been that every year, especially last year with his career high of 8. So I just think that's an incredibly low number, and I'm smashing the over there.
Yep, totally agree. We are out on Deebo and in on Ayuk. Another guy that probably everybody is in on is Tyreek Hill, and I really liked this prop bet. 100 plus receiving games. They have Hill set at 5.5, 100%, 100 plus receiving yard games. Like, it's just kind of an interesting prop. But look at last season; he had 7 games of 100 yards or more. You look at Tua was injured. That quarterback, I mean, they had. I forget who they put in, but they ended up putting like 3 or 4 different quarterbacks that they had to go to after Tua because that was just a mess. And if Tua is healthy all season long and Hill has a solid quarterback throwing to him, I think that he gets back to that number, possibly even more. He's saying that he wants to get 2,000 yards this season. And if he wants to get 2,000 yards, he's probably going to have more than 7 games of 100 plus receiving yards, or just some monster games in between. But Tyreek Hill, I'm not going to bet against him. He's, I don't know, in just redraft in coming up this season, probably a top 3, top 5 receiver in the NFL. So, yeah, I'm smashing that Hill over 5.5, 100 plus receiving yard games.
Well, my second wide receiver pick is going to be Stephon Diggs with the Buffalo Bills. They have his line at 1,199 and a half. So he needs to get 1,200 yards or above. And I think the stats are pretty simple with this one. His 3 years in Buffalo, he's gone over this. And last year he had 1,429 yards, which blows this line out of the water. So as long as Allen's healthy, I think this is going to be a pretty easy line for him to go over. So not too many data points to hit on that one.
Yeah, I have another one similar to that, and for this next one, I'm not going to tell you the name of the person yet. I'm just going to tell you how many touchdowns they've scored in the last, let's say, 5 years. And I'm going to tell you what their line set at, and you're going to tell me how ridiculous of a line this is before I tell you the name of this person. So they set the line at 4.5 touchdowns, and this was starting from last year going backwards. 6 touchdowns, 10 touchdowns, 14 touchdowns, 6 touchdowns, 9 touchdowns. And they set his line at 4.5. And the receiver is Adam Thielen. He may not be a flashy name anymore, and people may think he's old. He's constantly producing, and he's going to be Bryce Young's best friend out there. He's a veteran.
They don't have much else.
That's what I mean. He's going to need someone to lean on, and he's a veteran receiver who knows how to get open. And I just feel like he's gonna luck into 4 touchdowns He scored 14 touchdowns 3 years ago, 10 touchdowns the next year. And even last year, when people probably even forgot he was in the NFL, he had 6 touchdowns. And now he's basically the only guy out there playing receiver. So I just feel like that line's disrespectful.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I think he goes into the season as wide receiver 1. He was like wide receiver 2 or 3, maybe even 4 with Hawkinson last season. So yeah, I like that. All right, I got another pretty simple one, like pretty basic for me. Is Amon-Ra St. Brown gonna have over 1,000 yards this season? I say yes. I don't know why you would bet against that. His line is set at 1,075 yards. I think that he's a top 10 wide receiver in the league. He's already proven himself. He's young. He's probably only getting better. He's easily their wide receiver 1 this year. Jared Goff looked great last season, compared to what we like. I guess the thoughts on Jared Goff, what people generally think of him. And that offense, I think, is just going to get better. And last season, he had 1,161 yards. I think he does even better this season. Again, like his talent is unheard of. His speed on the field is amazing. Route running, catchability, he's got it all. He's a top 10 wide receiver in the NFL for me. And I think he's already broken out, but I think he just absolutely just blows his numbers out of the water this year.
Well, I don't have any more wide receiver picks, Ty. I know you have some tight ends.
I do. I actually have 2 tight end picks out here. One, so when we talk about fantasy football, something that we preach on Death by Dynasty is how tight ends have very little value in fantasy football. So there's 2 tight ends that stand out to me above the rest as far as value goes in fantasy, and I think they do when you look at their line on Prizepicks as well. First one is by far the best tight end maybe ever in fantasy. Not by far the best ever, but he's by far the best right now, and that's Travis Kelce. And he's set at 95.5 receptions for the year. And if he's playing on the team with Patrick Mahomes, he's going to get targeted a lot. He's broken that he's gotten that total 4 out of the last 5 years. So again, if he's healthy for the majority of the season, I see him hitting that number. And then
we thought last year them losing Tyreek Hill was bad. They literally, there's a lot of young or guys who have never proven themselves on that team other than Travis Kelce.
Yeah, Sky Moore is like looking like their guy right now, which is kind of scary. But then the next guy for tight ends, who is kind of like the person who hasn't been as good in recent years, but I think has potential to really break out, and that's Darren Waller. I think he's potentially wide receiver 1 on that team. His line set at 725 yards for the season. I think he very well could be at 1,000-yard tight end. I think they're going to treat him like a receiver. Hyatt looks good in New York, but I just think the way Daniel Jones plays quarterback and knowing Darren Waller's proven skill set and being a veteran tight end in that offense, especially with around the goal line, the focus being on Saquon Barkley, he's just going to get a lot of easy yardage. And so I think that 725 is a low number for him.
And thank you all for watching. That was the wide receivers / tight ends. I know it takes a lot of patience to do the full season picks. If you're one of those type of people that just want to, try it out and just have someone to root for or root against for an entire season, go for it. I think there's really good opportunities with some of these lines. So be sure to check out Death by Dynasty, also known as DBD Fantasy Podcast. A link will be in the description. And if you would like to discuss other lines for other sports further, I have a Discord. The link is in the description as well. So as always, God bless you. It's the final round. I will catch you on the next one. Bye.